everyone, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be me doing a very popular tag, and that is the mid-year book freakout tag. This is like my third time doing this tag, like over the 3 years that I've been on BookTube. So let's just get into it because I'm in front of a light. It is like 90 degrees. It's very hot in my room. Alright, so I have my handy dandy bullet journal with me with all the answers that I have and the questions hopefully written well, but if not, I'll be leaving the questions linked down below. I was not tagged in the I was not tagged to do this video, but if you want to do this video and have not been tagged, I tagged. But the first question is the best book you've read in 2020. Now, I read a lot of really good books in the first like couple months of 2020. It's just now that's been kind of like But the book that I ended up choosing, because I am absolutely trash for everyone in this series, is The Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Last Hours series trilogy. It is set in Edwardian London, 17 years after the events of Clockwork Princess. Yeah, 17 or so years after the events of that, where we're now following the children. I really enjoyed this book. I feel like Cassie Clare does a really good job at writing historical fiction, and she needs to do more of it. I think her characters are really well fleshed out. The plotline also flowed really well, and there wasn't like surprises where I just did not like them. I have an entire vlog about this down below or in my channel, so I will leave that link down below, and I'll have my Goodreads review up there for you guys as well for any of these books I'm going to be mentioning. The next question is the best sequel that I read in 2020, and the first or best sequel that I've read so far in 2020, and the book that I'm gonna have to go with is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second book and this finishing book to the Six of Crows duology, where it follows this ragtag group of thieves who have to kind of steal someone out of a prison, which is known as the biggest and most toughest heist in the history of Ketterdam. It is a spin-off of the original Grishaverse trilogy. I don't exactly know the time frame of where it sits. I just know it sits after the Grishaverse. Just don't exactly know where. I really love this book. Again, I have a full vlog for this, and I will leave that link down below as well as my Goodreads review. I love this duology. It was a definite step up from the original trilogy, and I really love the characters, the plot line, and just the overall writing. I think Leigh Bardugo here has definitely grown as a writer. The next question is a new release that you have not gotten to yet, and for that I'm choosing two. The first one is one that was released a couple like months ago, or not even a couple months ago, a month or two ago, and that is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I don't know exactly a ton about this book. I know it's told in dual perspective, and that's literally all there is that I need to know. I read The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I listened to the audiobooks, is what everyone recommended to me, and I really loved it, and I still have to like finish reading the rest of her books that have come out thus far. I'm super excited to get to this book once I buy it, and hopefully I love it just as much as The Poet X and With Fire on High when I read that book. Then the next 2020 release I need to get to is Crescent City House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. This is Sarah J Maas's adult release that came out in March alongside Chain of Gold. I know it's just fantasy, and there's different kinds of fairies in here, and it's adult, and that I really like the cover. I've been meaning to pick this up for a while now, and I keep not forgetting, but like with everything going on, I've been feeling very slumpy, so I feel like a high fantasy, an adult high fantasy, probably not the best choice for me, but I'm hoping to get to this probably before the summertime ends. Cross my fingers. The next question is most anticipated release for the last half of the year, and I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with 2020 releases unless I know the author, just because I feel like with a lot of new releases, things tend to get hyped up a lot, and then when I read it, it's just kind of like meh. I do have a Goodreads shelf with some 2020 releases. Oh, actually, just remember, it's this book, something about 9 lives. It's a cat book. I'm gonna throw it up here. Basically, it's this cat who has been in love with this human for a long time, and he gets the option to become a human. And so he becomes a human, falls in love with a girl, and like I guess he also meets a boy along the way. So I'm like, I think there's bi-rep in here. It also implies some like a polyamorous relationship. So like I am here for that. I think this comes out September 9th, I want to say. It's YA. So let's hope that this one does not disappoint. But other than that, I haven't really kept up because, you know, things tend to disappoint me and I'm not in the mood for it. So I just kind of buy books as they go along. But the next question is the biggest disappointment, and this will come with no surprise to anyone who has been following my channel for a hot minute, and that is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is an adult high fantasy novel centered around this fictional world where there are dragons and people don't like dragons, but other people like dragons and ride dragons. Either way, I did not like it. There was just not enough dragon content for a book focusing on dragons, and then the queer relationship, while it was cute, did not end the way that I felt like they deserved, and there was just a lot of filler, and it was just too long, and there was some world building aspects that I just did not enjoy. The next question is the biggest surprise, and that is After the Flood by Cassandra Montag. This is an adult post-apocalyptic world where a series of floods have kind of wiped out Earth as we know it, and during these floods, Myra's eldest daughter, was taken away from her while she was pregnant with her youngest daughter, and now that her youngest daughter is about like 8 or 9, the two of them kind of travel the world to try and find her eldest daughter. It has a lot of questions about like morality and like some gray areas and like kind of having to choose a kid, so to speak. I didn't know what I was going to get into with this book. I recommended it based off of Jesse's recommendation. I have a full video review of this that's spoiler free that I will leave linked down below, I believe. But this was such a wild ride from start to finish, and I highly enjoyed like the morality questions, the ethical questions, and just like how these characters progressed and basically what you do to protect your own and how you would betray basically everyone that you meet to do it. Like I said, I highly recommend it, and it's just, it tugged at my heartstrings, and I have never been so stressed in my entire life trying to finish this book. Like, it was a stressful time from beginning to end. Question number 7 is favorite new author, either debut or new to you. And I'm gonna have to go with Ben Alderson. He is the author of the Cloaked and Shadows trilogy that I highly recommend and highly enjoy. He just writes queer characters really well, and he is queer himself. I believe he's gay. So it's own voices, and I just love his writing. Love it. So yeah, I'll be talking about the book that he wrote in like the next couple questions, so really there's no point in me explaining it now when I'm going to talk about it later. Question 8 is the newest fictional crush, and I think we all know the answer to this question. It's going to be a tie between Matthew Fairchild from Chain of Gold, but really the actual winner here is Anna Lightwood from Chain of Gold. I'm just so excited. I just love her character. I'm here for a genderqueer character in Edwardian London who is also gay as hell. Like, can she just step on my heart and break it in two? I love her. I genuinely love her, and I love her. Like, look at, how can you not love her? Someone send me an Anna Lightwood. Please, 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 please. Please, please send me an Anna Lightwood. Lord, if you're listening, Anna Lightwood. The next one is newest favorite character, and I'm gonna have to go with Max from Heretics Anonymous by Katie Henry. This book is about this atheist named Michael, who goes to a Catholic school, and there he finds out that he doesn't really fit, but he ends up finding these group of kids who don't really fit the concept of a good Catholic either, and join their club, Heretics Anonymous, and they kind of like weave through like this very double standard kind of world that their school lives in. It's a comedy, it's really good, I enjoyed it, and Max is just a precious little bean of a character who just wants to be himself and wear what he wants, even if it's not dress code appropriate, and he just wants all his friends to be happy, and I love him. And whoever decided to make Max be like the token YA precious bean of a name, I hate you. I hate you. But yeah, he's one of my new faves, and I want to protect him, and I want to buy him all the capes. The next question is a book that made you cry, and I'm going to have to go with This Is How You Lose a Time War by Amal El-Motar and Max Gladstone. This is a adult novella following these two characters named Blue and Red, with sapphic as hell, who are on opposing sides of a time war. They have different objectives within their team, and they end up meeting through these letters, and that's how they fall in love and everything. I initially found the story to be kind of slow, and I didn't understand a lot of the world building, but the last 100 pages of this book literally tore me in and like ripped my heart in two. And I literally came back from work because I had been reading in the park in my car because it was a nice day, and I come back from work and my boss was like, how was your lunch? And I was like, oh, I cried. And he looked at me and was like, oh no. And I was like, it's just because this book like literally tore me in half, and I was like coming back into the office with like red eyes because it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was a good a lot. I highly recommend this book. Just, you know, take it a little slow when it comes to the world building and try to like piece it together yourself, because I feel like that's where this book was a little bit lacking. The next question is a book that made you happy, and I'm gonna have to go with Cloaked in Shadow by Ben Alderson. This is the new Disney author that I had mentioned earlier. This is a YA high fantasy novel following Zachariah, who is an elf, and he and his fellow elves were sent over to the king's like area to invited over for dinner, and there they find out that they're all shifter elves, and they have been kind of enlisted into his army to fight some big bad guy they don't really understand. However, Zachariah doesn't fit under the category of a shifter elf just quite yet, and in his attempt to avoid lots of like eyes to him, he ends up getting a lot of eyes pointed at him, as well as the attention of Prince Hadrian. It's such a cute book, and I love it so much, and I want to scream about this from the top of my lungs, and you'll see this book pop up a lot more on my channel in the next coming months, either with tags or just like random stuff. But highly recommend this trilogy, highly recommend these books. Ben Alderson is a self-pub author, so give him some love because he is well deserved. It's well deserved. The next question is the most beautiful book you own, and I'm gonna have to go with After the Flood by Cassandra Montag. I just love like these colors, like the pinks and the blues and the oranges, as well as like these gold detailing here. I think it's very telling of the actual story. I forgot what the back looks like. Okay, it's just a plain, but this actual cover is just gorgeous, and I love this color scheme. It's like, look at that, it's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I look at this book every time I'm looking through my shelves, and I'm just like, I have to like rearrange my shelves somehow so it's displayed a little better. And finally, the last question is, what book do you need to read before the end of the year? And the answer is a lot. I have been struggling trying to whittle down my physical TBR, and because I do read-alongs, I keep adding to the pile but removing it because I read it that month. So I'm just gonna leave like a video of like the stuff in my physical TBR that I currently own and need to read, and I'm just gonna say all of this is what I need to read before the end of the month, end of the year. But that is it for my video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I love making this like mid-year book freakout tag just because I can go back and reflect on all the books that I have read in the past 6 months. But until next time, hit like, subscribe, comment. If you guys have read these books, let me know. If you guys have any books you want to recommend to me, or like I will also be linking my Goodreads shelf with all the books I need to read down below as well. So if you guys want me to do a review on those, tell me and I'll go ahead and prioritize that for July. But until then, I'll see you guys in my next video. You guys are having a wonderful week, and if not, hopefully the next coming days will kind of perk that up for you. Bye!